little bit of fun with the groove. And an old Earl Klugh song. I don't even remember the name of that song. I've learned it so many years ago. And I just kind of, back in the day when I was just had a cassette tape of it, I would have just learned it from the cassette tape. So there you go, a little bit of Earl Klugh as we get started on our question and answer. I hope you all have thought of some questions. Cola Keith is asking, what are the best backing tracks to use? Well, the best backing tracks are the ones that are the most useful to you. So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish with it. You know, YouTube has been just amazing in completely upending the information, and particularly with backing tracks, part of the equation with musicians. So you could pretty much type in anything you want now into YouTube, and chances are somebody somewhere has done a backing track for it. There are some really good ones. I found another one today, Slowhan, S-L-O-H-A-N Records, I believe it is, Slowhan Records. They are putting out some really funky, wonderful backing tracks. And they have a YouTube channel, and I was watching some of their stuff today. Just brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. Back when I was a youngster, we had to have the Jamie Aebersold records that we would listen to, and we would learn how to improvise on that. So all that to say, the best backing tracks are the ones that are the most useful to you. Sometimes you can see you'll dial up backing tracks for a particular song or something like that, and it is just some MIDI track, or it's some other guy, and I've seen a lot of these where he's just kind of playing his own little backing track to something, and he puts it up there, and those are particularly very good. You run across some really good ones in this world. I believe it's Coffee Break Grooves was one of them that we had used many, many years ago. They were putting out great tracks, but you can pretty much find pretty much anything you're wanting to find with particular songs, or just improvisational backing tracks, groove in D minor or something like that. I would generally go to YouTube first, and that's been great. Another thing I want to talk about in a future live lesson is you can make your own backing tracks, and I use a program called Band in a Box. So if you've heard me using backing tracks on any of the Guitar Gathering Academy stuff, those were all made from Band in a Box. Great program there. Sharon is asking, I see that you have the guitar amplified. Is that new, and is it typical on nylon string guitars? Okay, well, you can put a pickup in anything, and this one I had a pickup put in it when I was in, I believe it was Austin, Texas, when we were living in Austin, Texas there. Earl Lewine Guitars in Austin, Texas. Earl Lewine Guitars, a little hole-in-the-wall guitar place in Austin, Texas when we lived there many, 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 many moons ago. Made famous by Marty McFly when he plays that little bitty Chiquita guitar in Back to the Future, and he sends in front of the big amp and the whole bit. That guitar was made by Earl Lewine Guitars in Austin, Texas. So anyway, I went to Earl Lewine Guitars, got a pickup put in this guitar. It was probably an LR Baggs pickup that was put in this guitar, and probably, all truth be told, the guitar costs less than the pickup. The pickup probably costs more than the guitar. Now, it's just an under saddle pickup. It is a passive pickup, so that means it does not have a battery, and so the signal that it is sending out is very small, but it is useful. So when I play weddings or something like that, I can run through this. Now, it is very prone to feedback, so I have to be careful about that. And I do have my Godin nylon string as well. I don't have it here within arm's reach, but that is another way that I can plug in the instrument and not have it feedback. So yeah, this is currently, but what you're hearing right now, you're hearing the mic'd sound. Now I am amped, and you are going to hear the amp sound in a little bit, but this is currently just a mic sound that you're hearing from me from my Sennheiser MKE, I believe it's MKE 500. Mark is asking, who's the manufacturer of my nylon string guitar? Did it come with the electronics? No, it did not. I had the pickup added after the fact. The nylon string, this is nothing fancy. This is a Yamaha nylon string guitar. The model number is G245S2. It is a student model guitar. It is nothing fancy. So everybody asks me, what is that guitar? Oh my goodness, it's nothing fancy. This is a student model Yamaha, but I tell you, it sounds great, and the most recording work I've gotten in Nashville has been on this guitar, oddly enough. So it's just a sound that everybody likes, this nylon string sound. It's a very warm, rich sound with all of that. Brian Fitzpatrick is asking, what is the most effective way to practice if you only have an hour to an hour and a half a day? Well, first of all, if you've got an hour and a half and an hour and a half a day, my applause to you, because that is way ahead of what other people have. Quantity of time is important, but it's not as important as the quality of practice that you are doing inside of that practice time. We are looking for quality of practice time. We don't want to just be logging in hours. What your practice time needs to be engaged, it needs to be consistent. So even if you only have 15 minutes, 30 minutes a day, make it consistent. You don't have to do it every day, but maybe 5 out of 7 days of the week. Consistency will pay off. It needs to be creative practice. So we don't just want to mindlessly go through the same scale that we've been going through for the last month. That's not when your mind is not engaged, you're not learning. When you're not learning, you're wasting time. So what I want to be doing is making the most out of every moment. So I want to do it when I'm fresh. I want to do it when my mind is engaged. I want to always be engaged in what I'm learning. Now, for me, I have found that I cannot be that level of engagement for really more than 20 or 30 minutes. And then I need to stop and go do something else. Some people are wired differently. I am not. It is more important that I be engaged than that I do an hour. I rarely get an hour a day of practicing. I mainly get several 15-minute blocks throughout the day is what I use. So, but as far as effective practice things, I would write down what you're working on, what you're trying to accomplish, and small goals, small attainable goals. I did the scale at 120 BPM today. Oh, by the end of the week, I'm going to try and get up to 126 BPM. Things like that. Don't let yourself be sloppy when you practice. Try to practice with a tempo. That's another thing. Don't just practice outside of tempo. Let me see if I can think of an effective way to say this. A little bit later on in the program, I'm going to play a song, Meditation, by Antonio Carlos Jobim, as we're talking about nylon string guitar songs. And that song starts out with a very long note. Okay, so it starts out with this very long note. If I'm just not paying attention when I'm practicing, I'm going to play this. So there's no sense of tempo, there's no sense of time, there's no sense of any of that. So when you practice, force yourself to play with a sense of time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That sensation of time is very important, and a lot of times we don't practice with that. A jalapeno guitar is saying, would a Cordoba hybrid nylon string guitar with the radius fretboard and the narrower nut be easier for someone who wants to go from electric to nylon and back off and thinking about buying a nylon? Okay. Well, a nylon, I was going to talk about this later, but basically a nylon string has a wider neck, has a 2-inch neck, as opposed to a regular standard guitar, which is usually kind of an inch and 7/8, or maybe even a little bit more narrower than that. So it has a little bit of a wider neck, just because the strings are vibrating a little bit wider. It's just the nature of there's wider strings, and they're a little bit more flexible. So it needs that extra width for this. So the widths are wider. They will tend to be a little bit easier to play for a beginner. Now, Jalapeno Guitar is asking a good question there. Going from the wider neck of the nylon string to the more narrow neck of the electric. Is that a big deal? And my thought to you is, it's not as big a deal as you think. It's not as big a deal as you think. For me, I mean, once I play this for about 5 minutes, okay, I'm used to the neck. Once I play my electric or my acoustic guitar with a thinner neck, once I play that for about 5 minutes, I'm back to that. So you would think the neck width would make more of a difference than it does, but actually in the heat of battle, it really doesn't. You play for it a little bit and you get used to the neck width. So the switching of neck width is not as oh my goodness, as you think it might be. Now then you mentioned also the radius of the fretboard, narrow or not, and something like that. I would say what makes a guitar comfortable is really the neck. The shape of the back of the neck, how that is curved, is more important than you think. So if you find a guitar that you go, oh, I like the feel of that neck, yes, because the necks are very, very different in how they feel. And so some of them fit your hand and your playing style better. So the radius of the neck is something that you should pay a lot of attention to when you're trying to buy a guitar. Now you mentioned you're thinking about buying a nylon string guitar. I would say everyone should have a nylon string guitar. It just gives you so many different tonal options that a regular guitar doesn't have. And sometimes it's just the sound that you need. And plus it's light, it's small. You can throw it, in a small case and, take it on vacation with you. It's just, it doesn't need an amp. It's just a good guitar for those sorts of situations. Cola Keith is asking, what is the difference from classical, flamenco, and fusion nylon guitars? Wow, you're getting into all kinds of things. All right, I'm a player. I'm not a guitar salesman, so I'm with that in mind. Let me just kind of give you my thoughts on that. Earlier, one of our folks mentioned the Cordoba line. Cordoba is a line of guitars that's kind of the house brand of Guitar Center. So you see a lot of their nylon string guitars are Cordoba because that's kind of their in-house brand, a fine brand, entry-level brand. And a lot of the manufacturers will make nylon string guitars as well. Taylor makes nylon string guitars. It just depends on kind of what you're trying to do with it. And then you can get into smaller boutique manufacturers of classical guitars that, are $20,000, $50,000. So depends on what you want to do with it. Now, the fusion nylon, which is kind of like the Godin, which again I don't really have here, which is kind of a hybrid between an electric and a nylon string guitar. Those are wonderful too. It's a different sound. It mimics closely this sound, but it's not quite the same. It's a very pleasing sound, but it's a different sound, and it's a very useful sound when I'm using it when I'm playing in loud situations, stuff like that, to get a nylon string sound. Plus, the things are built like a tank. So those Godin nylon strings are fantastic as well. But they don't have a body like this, and they're a natural instrument like that. Sharon is mentioning the Furch guitars, which are great guitars, and I believe their claim to fame is they're easy to play as well. Zager makes easy to play guitars as well. User LU8 is talking about the difference in the classical playing style and different from the folk and the electric. Yes, the pure classical style of playing, yes, you are on your left knee, you've got a foot stand, your guitar is up like this, and that is that is have the classical approach to it. There is more of the folk method, which is kind of what we are in right now with this Latin sort of a feel. Antonio Carlos Jobim, all of these, Luis Bonfa, all of these amazing Latin guitar players, they kind of play more like this and less with the left side approach. I'm not saying one is right or the other. It depends on what you're trying to do with the instrument there. User is saying here, do you recommend any of the online guitar learning methods such as Marty Music? Hey, or Guitar Tricks? Is the personal teacher at the local music store the best? Okay. Great question. Hey, let's talk about that. Here's my official thoughts. Learn from every stinking place you can. Learn from YouTube. Learn from guitar courses. Learn from the guy next door to you. Learn from every stinking place you can learn from. What's the right way? There is no right way. You learn. You're a sponge. You learn, you learn, you learn. Now, online stuff and courses and YouTube and random YouTube videos, the thing that they do well is presenting the information. The thing that they cannot do and do lousy is giving you a road and actually taking you to a point that you want to go to. They're really good at just kind of, blah, here's information. But they're lousy at trying to piece together this information and turn it into something that is usable for your guitar learning journey. There, you need kind of one-on-one feedback. And there, a qualified instructor is going to be of use to you there. It's also going to give you some accountability that YouTube and one-way courses, you know what I mean, there's only, the information is just going out and you have no feedback. So where a guitar teacher comes into play is you get the feedback. How do you choose a good guitar teacher? You don't go with just the first guy, you choose one. Okay, so you take a lesson from this guy, you take a lesson from this guy, you take a lesson from this guy, you start asking some hard questions. I would like to learn this. Don't be general, be specific. I want to learn this. I want to learn this song. I want to learn James Taylor songs. I see myself, I would like to be playing fingerstyle. I would like to be a singer-songwriter. I would like to be an electric guitar player in a punk rock band. Whatever. Give them a goal that you're trying to go after. And then see how they give you good response. And that's going to be the difference. And you find they should be able to articulate the road that they're going to take you down. Let me give you the signs of a bad one-on-one instructor. Number one, he plays all the time. Wrong. He's there to take your money and to pet his ego. Okay? So if he's playing all the time and really you can't get a word in edgewise and he's just yapping and playing the entire time and expects you to just be sit back and call him a guitar god, that is not the guy you're going to eventually learn from. Oh, he may be entertaining and you may pay for the entertainment of being with him for an hour, but you're not going to learn anything from this guy. You need someone who's probably a little bit more dull, probably a little bit more organized, who's going to say, okay, you need help with this and this and this, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you down a road. We're going to eventually get to where you want to go, which is 17 steps down the road. But first you need to learn this, 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 and this, and this, and our first step to doing that is going to be this. That's the guy you want. That's the guy you want. You don't want the guy that's coming in late, doesn't know who you are, doesn't remember what you're doing. He's just interested in getting your money and getting you out of there as fast as you can. Don't go for that guy. Don't go for that. You're wasting your money. Wasting your money. Here's another thing. Hey, record the lesson. Does he give you any sort of meaningful feedback? Okay, just because this guy is blathering at you doesn't mean that you're learning. Force your guitar instructor. I think we need to force our guitar instructors to give us more and give it to us better. Record the lesson. Have him write out, what are the 4 things I'm supposed to do exactly for next week? Well, just keep working on it, dude. Don't do that. That guy, you're not going to get anything. You're just going to be paying his mortgage. Don't waste your money on those guys. But the guy that says, here's the 3-4 things that I want you to work on specifically. I want you to try and get this at this tempo, that at this tempo. I want you to be able to do the intro here, this section from this song, from this part to this part. There you go. He's given you resources. He's given you input. He's taken the big picture. You do most of the playing in the lesson. You have to prepare to come to the lesson because he's going to be expecting something from you. He's drawing greatness out of you. That's the guy that you want. That's the guy that you want. I'm always striving about trying to be a a better instructor because I've seen so many lousy ones and I've seen so many students suffer under lousy instructions. You're the one, remember, those of you that are taking lessons, remember, you are paying them. You are the employer. They are the employee. They are telling you what you don't know. Okay, that's true. So there's a limit. You need to come at it with humility. But if they are taking you down a road that you don't want to go, or I'm going to teach you this. I know you're wanting to learn that, but I'm going to teach you this. Now, unless he can explain to you clearly how what he's teaching is going to get you to where you want to go, if he's just like, well, I'm a jazz guy, and I know you're wanting to learn bluegrass, but I'm a jazz guy, so here's the jazz chords you need to know. That's not going to help you learn bluegrass. Find the bluegrass guy. Demand more from your guitar teachers. John Sibley, is there a rule of thumb for changing nylon strings? Yes. The top 3 strings that are nylon, your first, second, and third strings are nylon. They generally don't need to be changed as much. They just don't go bad. The wound strings, they need to be changed a little bit more just to keep the zing. But like I keep these strings on, probably 6 months before I would ever need to change strings. Sometimes longer than that, 9 months or something like that. They just don't go bad as quick as a set on your acoustic steel string or your electric, because they just don't have, they're just built differently. So I don't need to change them that much. Sharon is asking, is there a particular brand of nylon strings that I like the best? You mentioned the Muriel Anderson put out by Diodarido or DHS, I forget. But the Muriel Anderson signature strings, I like those too. I've used those a lot too. There are, wow, I wasn't prepared to talk about this, so I don't have them names in there. They always escape me. DHS has some. I've got a set back there. The Augustino, I believe, is one of them. They're more of there's kind of the Alvarez sets. It's either Alvarez or Savarez or something like that. There's like a red, a green, a blue. They have to do with different tensions on those. Those are great strings as well. As far as someone had asked about changing guitar strings. Okay. Changing guitar strings. These guitar... Punkin, I don't know if you can get a shot of this. I'll try and get where you can maybe get it with this one camera. On these strings, they don't have a ball on the end. You'll notice they're tied, and so there is no ball. So just keep that shot up there. At the end, they come through this end pin, and then you just wound them. And I like to wind them over themselves twice before I do that. And then they lock onto themselves, and then I eventually cut that end off there. There's lots of videos on YouTube of how to change these nylon strings. Now, one thing I will say about a nylon string guitar, don't plan on playing your concert the day of your nylon string guitar change. They are a more flexible string, and so they take a long time to settle and eventually get where they're staying in pitch. How long? Oh, I don't know, 3 days maybe? Things like that. You're going to be tuning them, and then tune them again, and then tune them again, and then tune them again. And about 20 tunes later, they eventually start settling into the pitch. So many a classical guitar student has made that problem of thinking, I'm going to change my strings the day of my guitar juries. Wrong. Wrong-o. Don't do that. Oh, Randy is saying the Diodario Pro Arte. Yes, I've used those. Those are great. Wanted to mention a couple of resources to you. I mentioned last week, I put all of the hymns that we have done for Guitar Gathering Academy, I've put those on our website. So if you're interested in learning getting the full lesson, the full PDFs, the music notation, the tab, backing tracks, solo guitar arrangements, everything that I provide for these various hymn lessons, all of the hymn lessons are up on our store now, and the link is in the YouTube description down there. I mentioned the guitar lessons. I've kind of opened up some time in my schedule, and so many of you have responded for actually getting one-on-one lessons from me. I don't really do much of that, one-on-one lessons. I used to do a lot of that, and now with the YouTube channel and stuff like that, I don't do as much of that, and the last couple of years I've been hardly any of that. But I have opened up a little bit of my schedule there, and to where I can take on some private students. So if you're interested in that, the link for one-on-one instruction is in the YouTube description down below. We only have 6 slots left. I've been contacted by folks as far away as British Columbia and Australia and Italy for lessons. So I'm having trouble kind of plugging everybody into the available spaces because I still do a lot of other stuff as well. But I want to try and help as many people out I can. But if you're interested in that, contact me, service@guitargathering.com, and we will start working out a time to do that. So, all right. We've already talked quite a bit about nylon string guitars, so there's not much more I want to say about that other than nylon string guitars are good for Latin stuff. They're good for, I find they're particularly good for if you want to do kind of a ballad or something like that. It's amazing. I can, I pay all this money for guitar pedals and work hard on these electric guitar parts, and yet I get into the studio and everybody wants to hear is just that sound. Everybody just likes that sound. So it's a great guitar to have in your arsenal. I would encourage you, if you don't have one in your arsenal, pick up one. They're not expensive, and it's a fun little guitar to have around. You can get a pickup put in. It's good for Latin stuff. It's good for jazz stuff. It's good for classical. It's good for classical things. In your YouTube description down below is a link to a classical piece of music. And so download that. The classical piece of music is by Francesco Tarrega, and the song is called Lagrima. Let me just play a little bit of Lagrima for you. Lagrima is a great song by Francesco Tarrega. It's a classical song. So another thing that nylon string guitars are good for is classical sounding pieces. So let me play a little bit of Francesco Tarrega. He was lived in the 1800s. I believe he died in like 1909 or something like that. He was born in Spain, Catalonia, part of Spain. Knew he wanted to be a musician. He ran away from home multiple times to try and get to good instruction. We were talking about good instructors, and he ran away from home multiple times to find good instruction and to start playing. He is one of the founding fathers of modern classical guitar, is Francesco Tarrega. So he was doing, and he was a brilliant player, he was doing a concert tour, and he was in London, and he did not like London at all, and he was longing for home. So he was longing for home. This young Spanish guitarist was longing for home as he's in the wet dreariness of London, and he was longing for the warm countryside of Spain, where he is from. So he wrote Lagrima, which is arguably one of the most famous songs that he wrote for the classical guitar. I put the music in the YouTube description down below if you're interested. I've got the music in the tab as well as the finger notations and everything in there too as well. So let me just play a little bit of Lagrima. It's only 16 measures long. It is a simple song, but it is one of the iconic pieces of classical guitar. You cannot be a classical guitarist and not have played this song early in your education. So let me play a little bit of Lagrima. Lagrima. You can just hear the aching, the longing of this young Spanish kid longing for his homeland. Lagrima. If you're interested in learning this one, I have the music down in our YouTube description down below, and that's a great one to learn. I wanted to talk about one thing before we run out of time here, about portable guitar stands. So I'm going to kind of put this down here for a second. I play a lot of jobs, and when you're out playing, you need a guitar stand. It used to be you had these big guitar stands you had to take with these pipes and tubes, and they always fell apart, and they were huge, and it was a real pain in the rump. And so folks started making smaller guitar stands, portable guitar stands, and you have smaller ones like this, which is, not sure who puts this out, but this type of stand, very good, very strong and sturdy, but it's still big. It's still big. It doesn't fold up. It just gets that big. Now it's sturdy, but it's kind of hard to pack, pack in your stuff. So I've used that. I've used these little Hercules stands. These little Hercules stands, which are great. They're very sturdy, and they fold down. They get about that small. There's a little bag that comes with it. This is the acoustic stand. They have a different one for electrics, but these are good as well. They're a little brightly colored. I get it. It's their Hercules. It's their thing. But sometimes when I'm on a wedding gig and I'm at the front of the church, sometimes a bright yellow ordained stand is not too great. But anyway, these Hercules stands. So that's another type that I have used. And they've got their advantages. They're very sturdy. They put the guitar actually a little bit far back, leaning a little bit farther back than I feel comfortable with. I kind of want the guitar a little bit more straight up and down than these do. Then there's these Cooper stands. Okay, the Cooper stands. Okay, these are fold up like this. And these are great. These are very small, fit in my guitar case. And kind of where the headstock is, comes with a little padded thing there. You can cover that. And these are really good because they're small. You can get those at cooperstands.com. There's a couple of different styles of them, and it just folds out like this, and you get kind of a guitar stand like this. You can fit an electric, you can fit acoustic in them. I have found the downside of these is, as everybody knows, they break. One good step on them, and they have a darker wooded one, and which is beautiful, lovely. You'll see it on a lot of photo shoots and things like that, these Cooper stands. But then they have this lighter one, which is supposed to be a little bit more durable. I have broken multiple ones of these. Darker wood ones, I've broken several of those. Just one trip over it, and unfortunately the thing breaks. So it's a little bit of frustration. Now it'll hold your guitar, and it is the smallest of the ones that I've seen that I still feel good using, is these little Cooper stands. Unfortunately, they have a tendency to break if you trip over them, and they're kind of expensive now. I mean, I just looked before we went on the air, and they were $85 for one of these, so it's a little pricey. We've been dealing with our friends over at Cable Free Guitars, which have put out not just wireless units, but they've got a different thing now. They sent me one of these, and I really like it. This is called I believe they called it a bunny nest stand, so it's kind of in the design similar to Cooper stand. Cooper stand gets a little bit smaller. This doesn't quite get as small as a Cooper stand, but still small enough to put in your guitar case, or where you put your cables, things like that. You just do one thing. You lift this up, pull it out. It's made out of plastic, so it's not going to break. It'll bend a little bit, which actually I don't mind. You kind of want it a little bit flexible so that it doesn't break like the Cooper stands tend to do. It's got rubber on the inside here, which I really like. So the bunny stands I have been using here for the last few weeks, and I really kind of like them. So if you're interested, you could check out the bunny nest stand. The link is in the YouTube description down below from our good friends over at Cable Free Guitar. So you might check those. Out. Portable guitar stands. Hey, it's something I use all the time, and it's well worth an investment if you're going to be doing any sort of outside playing as well. Now, Dave White also was mentioning that you have the Cooper stands, which they have the plastic ones as well. Now, I don't have one of those, but I have heard good things about the plastic ones, the plastic Cooper stands as well. You can get them in different colors, I think, as well. So, Alice is saying, I use Hercules stands for my wind instruments. I like the bright color because I hope it makes them more noticeable so someone doesn't kick over my instrument. Hey, yes, I can see that as well. We will have another live lesson next week as we get into May, and we'll be talking about some different things. I hope you all have enjoyed this month that we have been talking about jazz and chord substitutions and soloing concepts and things like that. And then I wanted to introduce you to the nylon string guitar, which we got a good introduction into that tonight. If you're interested in checking out some of the hymns lessons that we have put on our website, the link is in the YouTube description down below. You can get to those lessons and check those out and purchase those as you need to. If you're interested in perhaps getting a slot with me so that we can do one-on-one kind of a Zoom lesson, either one-off or maybe on every other week or weekly or whatever. I don't have many slots available left, but if you are interested, shoot me an email and I can see if we can try and get you in there for this session that we're doing this for. So I want to thank Diane for your tireless work of helping out with all this, my lovely wife for doing producing and cameras and running all the show behind the scenes. Thank you all. Keep up the great work in your learning, and we will see you guys next time.